Recently, I have been binging Naruto Shippuden during my summer break, and guess what? Watching Naruto without fillers and skipping through both flashback made Naruto Shippuden so much better. It is just so smooth and good. It really transformed Naruto from a 7 out of 10 good shonen anime to a 9 out of 10 instant classic. But as I was embedding myself into the childhood show, something struck me. Who is the real villain of the series? Like originally it was meant to be Orochimaru, but then it became Pain from Akatsuki, then Tobi, later Madara, and finally Kaguya. None of them felt extremely evil, all of them have their own motive and reason. Obito and Pain are just being used, so they're kinda out of the equation. The most evil antagonist for me is Orochimaru, but he kinda died off early on in Shippuden when Itachi defeated him. He had the charisma to be a villain, but he's simply too weak to be one. On the flip side, we have Madara, who is stupidly strong, more than enough to be the final boss. So he's a top candidate for the real villain of Naruto, and we will discuss him later on. Finally, we have Kaguya. She simply doesn't have enough screen time and character development to be a true villain in Naruto. As a result, only Madara felt like a true evil villain that caused it all or most of the evil event. But then something clicked in my brain as I was rewatching the show, and I think I know who the true villain is that caused the chain of hatred to intensify and make the 4th Ninja War worse than it's supposed to be. His name is Danzo.
Wait, hold up, YH-Taku, that doesn't make any sense. He got killed by Sasuke in like 5 episodes.
I know you're confused and think I'm smoking some fat joint, but let me present my case. So without further ado, Taku, smash my intro. Most of the action is derived from a reason, aka what is the motive behind an individual's deed, and villains are no different. To make the best villain character, we need to have a reason behind his or her movement. The more justice a reason, the better it is. In terms of Danzo, his primary motive is to protect the Konoha village by any means necessary, which is a pretty good understandable motive. A reason that many would support him, which ticks the box for being a villain. Now let me explain myself. A good motive is essential for a villain. If the reason or motive that the reader can agree on, that will be even better. Which in this case is to protect the village, and the reader do agree to that. This brings in the dilemma and the contrast in the character development, which is essential for top class villain. You understand their action, but you don't agree to them fully.
But YH-Otaku, a lot of other villains have good motive, like Madara, he wants world peace, so why doesn't that make him a good villain?
Yes, it does make him a good villain. As a result, we need more than just good motive. A lot of good villain has 2 motive. One, the good motive, and second, the vicious motive. Now let's move on to their evil motive. For Danzo, that is becoming the Hokage. Out of jealousy to Hyuzen Sarutobi. We can clearly see that in Kakashi Anbu arc, where he tries to assassinate the 3rd Hokage and takes his place. His jealousy arrived/intensified when the 2nd Hokage named his longtime rival Hyuzen the 3rd Hokage.
But YH-Taku, Madara has evil motive too. He wants to revenge for his brother's death and destroy Konoha.
I do agree to that, and that elevates both Danzo and Madara from a good villain to an awesome villain. Now we need to look up what their action and deed is as a villain to further separate them. A villain with awesome motive but without sufficient action is simply a Chunibyo sufferer. In terms of Madara, he controls Obito to collect the 9-tailed beast, start the 4th Ninja War, annihilate the Shinobi Alliance, and finally activate Infinite Tsukuyomi. These actions will elevate Madara from an awesome villain to one of the greatest villains in the show. Now, in terms of Danzo, the first thing to point out is he found Kabuto and pushed him down the wrong path by manipulating him to kill his caretaker Nano, which led him down to Orochimaru, where he can brainwash Kabuto. The next big event that Danzo did is manipulating Hanzo into believing that Akatsuki is an evil organization that caused harm in Amegakuen, which resulted in Yahiko being killed and Nagato forming the vicious Akatsuki organization we know of. The final deed that Danzo executes is stealing Sisui's eyes and guiding Itachi to massacre the Uchiha clan. This resulted in Sisui failing to contain the Uchiha clan with Koto Amatsukami and almost resulted in a civil war breaking out in Konoha. This also forcing Itachi to become a Akatsuki member and then embedded hatred in Sasuke. So to summarize, Danzo pushed Kabuto down the wrong path to become Orochimaru's servant, made Nagato form the vicious Akatsuki organization, genocide the Uchiha clan, and turn Itachi into a Akatsuki member along with growing the seed of hatred in Sasuke's mind. Both Danzo and Madara have done more than enough evil deeds to be classified as one of the best villains in the franchise, with Madara ahead. But we need to look at their work's impact and consequence. The best villain often has more impact / consequences derived from their work than the actual work itself. Now we have looked at both Madara and Danzo's action, we now need to find out what their impact / ripple effect did those two great villains have caused. Madara exploits Obito's desperation of losing Rin to use him to start the 4th Ninja War, which resulted in tens of thousands shinobi dying in the war. In terms of Danzo, he manipulated Hanzo to kill Yahiko, which resulted in Nagato forming the Akatsuki and started to capture the Tail Beast to summon the demonic statue and the 10 Tail Beasts. On top of that, he made Itachi genocide the entire Uchiha clan, losing an important source of power for the Konoha village, and made Itachi to work on the Akatsuki to capture the Tail Beast. So far, Madara is still ahead of Danzo in terms of being a true villain of Naruto. But there's something I want you to consider before we make the final conclusion. Chains of events. Without this event / action, the next event will most likely not occur, like a ripple effect or a butterfly effect, where a seemingly small insignificant action can result in a huge impact. Remember when I said Danzo pushed Kabuto down the wrong path, then he became Orochimaru's servant? Yeah, that Kabuto. Without Kabuto, Madara would not be able to reincarnate in the 4th Ninja War by Edo Tensei. Hence, Obito's army would be much weaker, and I highly doubt it can withstand the attack from the Ninja Alliance and the 5 Hokage. Keep in mind, without Kabuto's Edo Tensei, Obito only had a bunch of average white zetsu to fight in the war. Next, Nagato. Without Danzo's impact in Amegakuen, I highly doubt Nagato would just turn evil. Even if he did, it would be a while. Maybe when Yahiko died during a mission, which is quite a low possibility because they are growing their team and they are the 2nd strongest force at their village. So Yahiko would still be the head of Akatsuki and Nagato wouldn't be able to fully activate his Rinnegan. And that is a key point. Without Kabuto, the only way that Obito can summon Madara is to use Rennin Tensei no Jutsu via Rinnegan. Once again, Madara wouldn't be able to reborn. Essentially, without Danzo's action, there is little to no chance that Madara will be able to reincarnate. Hence, his impact as a villain would be much less, and that is why I believe Danzo is the real true villain of the show. If I want to push that a little bit further, a lot of these events occur due to Danzo's ignorance and overestimation of his power. Hear me out. Danzo's stupidity can be clearly displayed when he tries to assassinate the 3rd Hokage with only 10 Anbu, when the 3rd Hokage himself got 5 Anbu, including Kakashi as his bodyguard. Look at how stupid he looks when he thought he has succeeded. He really thought Tenboma's journey can defeat a Hokage that master all 5 types of element. Come on son, how stupid do you have to be? And don't even get me started on how he misused Shishui's Koto Amatsukami during the 5 Hokage meeting. Second thing I want to point out is him overestimating his power. A perfect example would be when he was fighting Sasuke. Danzo clearly has the upper hand with the huge amount of Izanagi he can use. And yet he still lost to Sasuke. And the key reason is he lost count of the Sharingan amount. Like, come on son, how foolish do you have to be to not know how many Sharingan have you used it and how many you got left? Ignorant at its finest. To conclude, Madara's motive and deeds outweigh Danzo as a villain, but the impact of Danzo's action and ripple effect outweigh Madara. And without them, Madara would likely not be reincarnated by Edo Tensei. Hence, Danzo is the true villain of the show to me. If I want to be more precise, the root of the evil arises from his ignorance and him overestimating his ability. He is ambitious, he has a clear ideology and a good motive, but he simply doesn't have the power nor the competence to execute these actions. He can force his way to the top under the dark and achieve his dream, but those are short-lived. As a result, we have the shortest running Hokage ever. Shadow can never outshine the light, it would only be engulfed by the brightness. And we are done. You will stay safe and stay blessed. I'm out. Peace.